Undroppables Playbook, a football podcast. With your hosts, Ashley and Michael, please sit back and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Undroppables Playbook. Can you not hear me?
You sound really far away all of a sudden, in a way you did not sound right before the podcast, but that is a great start. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Undroppables Playbook. I'm your host, Michael, and with me is our other host, Ashley. I don't remember what she says.
This is a football podcast.
Now you're very loud.
Well, the thing is, one of my
That's
AirPods is happening to be missing right before showtime. So I tried to switch to my mic and then things got all messed up. So we're off to a great start. Welcome to the Undroppables Playbook.
You don't need to say it again. I already said it.
You didn't do it right.
I did fine.
Presented by the Undroppables and sponsored by Analyst Depot. He introduced himself. I am the other host, Ashley.
I introduced you too.
I didn't hear you introduce me.
Yeah, because you couldn't hear anything because you're dumb and you can't hear things and you don't know how to talk at the right volume.
That's not me. It's the AirPods. Remember when we used to not have to have Bluetooth headphones and you wouldn't lose one of them? Good times. You can't speak. Yours are dead.
I'm wearing wired headphones right now.
Yeah, I don't think I have owned wired headphones in like 5 years. Either way.
Oh, look at you. 5 years. I think that's a lot longer than you think it is.
No, I had the Beats ones that like wrapped around my neck. I had them my freshman year of college. So yeah.
Wow.
5 years.
Look at you.
I know. Fancy. All right, we'll jump right into it because today we're going to finish up our preseason storyline segment that we've been running. And we're actually going to go with 3 divisions today. So we're going to jump into that real quick. We're going to go over some news. Desean Watson was officially announced. They took his suspension to the other council, whatever. He's out 11 games. He will come back in week 12 against the Texans.
Week 13.
Week 13 against the Texans.
He was also fined $5 million.
Chum change. Coincidence that he comes back against the Texans? I don't know. But either way. Shaquem Griffin retired from the NFL today. The NFL also came out. They were doing discovery on like the whole lawyer speak from the whole Raiders and John Gruden lawsuit. And the NFL says Gruden sent derogatory emails throughout his tenure as head coach. Tom Brady returned to practice this week after a week, 2 weeks off, something like that. Panthers, good amount of time. Panthers rookie quarterback Matt Corral suffered a Liz Frank injury and will have surgery and miss the rest of the season. He was placed on IR. Going with that, Panthers did name Baker Mayfield as their week 1 starter at quarterback.
Can I read the next one?
Go ahead.
Kenyon Drake is going to release Kenyon Drake. Is exactly what you have in the notes. So for any Kenyon Drake fans out there, you are apparently a bigger fan of Kenyon Drake than Kenyon Drake is because he's releasing himself from the Raiders.
You were rushing me. That was the one that I was saying. You were like, hurry up.
I wasn't rushing you. We start at 8. And I can't remember the last time you were ready at 8.
We always get going by like 8:01.
Just keep going.
Anyway, Raiders were releasing Kenyon Drake after contract disputes weren't able to be settled. And Hall of Fame quarterback Len Dawson passed away at age 87. He was the one to win the Kansas City Chiefs their first Super Bowl. Very sad. I saw this amazing picture of him that literally looks like the photo of Joe Burrow smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
Did you see that one? That they were like, this isn't a really cool photo. They didn't do anything with it. And now it's coming out like after he passed away. And it's it's a photo that like withstands the test of time because that's photos we see nowadays. And it's really cool.
Yeah. Len Dawson is a guy that I feel like doesn't get as much praise as he should have.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish, like, I don't know as much about him as I wish I knew. And I just, I hope that, as unfortunate as is, I hope that this makes him a little more well-known to like current NFL viewers, and they can use this kind of as an excuse to teach about Len Dawson and, what he did and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But alrighty.
Let's go. So we're going to start off with our last team that's not an East team. That was a really weird way to say it. But we kept the
Division is the word you're looking for.
We kept the East divisions so we could talk about our teams last. So we just have one more team before we jump there, and that is
Division.
the AFC North. Sorry,
one
division.
more division.
After you read out loud that I said Kenyon Jake releases Kenyon Drake, I'm all thrown off now.
Not even releases. You said he will release. He hasn't even released himself.
He didn't sign himself yet. Either way, why don't you lead us off with the AFC North and the Bengals?
Yeah, so I just want to know if Zach Taylor is going to stop being a coward this season. He had a good excuse for it last year with the whole, recovering from a torn ACL thing. Maybe he has an excuse with it this year with the whole recovering from a appendix thing, removal surgery thing. But just some numbers to think about. Joe Burrow was 15th in pass attempts last season. In the NFL at 520, only 4 more than Carson Wentz, and in the same amount of games, less than 30 more than Taylor Heineke. But he led the league in completion percentage at 70%, and he led the league in average yards per attempt. Yards per pass attempt is a much simpler way to put that. So yeah, he's really good. He was extremely efficient last year. He threw for 4,611 yards, even though he only attempted the 15th most pass attempts in the NFL. He was insanely efficient. And I just want to know if that Zach Taylor, stop being a coward, man. Last season, I put you on the hot seat in the middle of the season because honestly, I don't think you're that good of a coach. Joe Burrow sort of bailed you out and took you to a Super Bowl. So prove me wrong and just let him sling the ball because, look at that. You also have maybe the best duo of wide receivers in the entire league in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So, come on, man. Just you have Joe Burrow. Just let him throw it. Justin Herbert attempted the second most. He attempted over 150 more than Joe Burrow last season. Come on. Just let him do that and see what he does. I don't know. And he only had 400 more yards than Joe Burrow, by the way. Justin Herbert did with 150 more pass attempts. So, yeah.
Wow.
Just come on. Just throw the ball. Stop being a coward, Zach Taylor. I don't like you.
That last statistic you said is wild.
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. You spoke about the duo. That was mine. Will the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow duo take a step back this year? And personally, my opinion, I think so. They were just on such a roll last year. I think Jamar Chase is due to kind of take a step down just a little bit. I don't think it's going to be anything severe, but I'm really intrigued to see how they work in other pieces of the offense rather than just having to completely rely on that duo. Because if that is not clicking one day, I think their whole offense is going to be thrown into burst into flames. So I'm curious to see if they work in other players a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, to make it simple, I think that'll be T. Higgins.
Yeah, I agree.
So T. Higgins is very good. Also, I agree with Brad Wire, who commented, need to petition and never let Piron get a carry ever. Which, by the way, speaking of commenting, apparently we're on Twitch now. So I think this is streaming to Twitch. I have absolutely no idea if we can see comments on Twitch come through. So if you're on Twitch, and maybe you're watching for some reason, even though I didn't know we were on Twitch, feel free to comment
right before the show started.
And let me know so I can find out because that's exciting. We still can't see comments on Twitter, FYI.
No,
if you've been
I'm still really sad about that.
3 months trying to comment on the Twitter stream, we have not seen any of your comments. Right now, we only get YouTube and possibly Twitch.
Maybe we'll let you know.
Yeah. But moving on, why don't you talk to us about the Baltimore Ravens? Because you actually kind of have two things here, and yeah.
Yeah, so mine kind of go hand in hand. I'm really curious about Rashad Bateman this year because he was hyped up last year a lot, and I was part of that crew too. But now he's kind of the only option there, one of the only options there as a wide receiver. So I'm wondering if Rashad Bateman will be able to be what everyone is hoping and praying for him to be, this incredible standout wide receiver one. But with that goes my second question of, can Lamar Jackson make an improvement in his passing game to be able to sustain that? He was 25th in passing yards in 2021. We know he's not the greatest passer, but I think to have this offense that Ravens fans are hoping and to take them deep into a playoff run, they're going to have to make improvements with Lamar Jackson to be able to throw the ball more. And we thought we were going to see that last season because all of his camp and preseason showed that he was still good. He was getting a lot better. And I hope he does. I think he has the ability to. I don't know. Hey, we got a Twitch comment.
Oh, hey, it works. Thank you, Tiki Man 7771. I don't know who you are, but thank you.
Thank you. We were thrown off. But yeah, so we saw that last preseason with Lamar Jackson, seeing that he was making improvements in the passing game, but still with his passing yards came in 25th last year. So I just think those go very hand in hand, being able to see Rashad Bateman take that huge leap forward like we all hope, but also needing Lamar Jackson to improve his passing game.
Yeah, and so kind of just to go along with that is something that Frank Reich said this somewhat recently, and I found it really interesting because I feel like you don't hear a lot of coaches kind of say this out loud, especially coaches with one of the best running backs in football. And that is Frank Reich, Indianapolis Colts head coach, talking about the workload of Jonathan Taylor going into 2022. He said, you don't see teams that have this ground and pound run game win championships. You just don't. I'm sure it's happened with one or two teams, that our best formula is to be balanced. I'm not saying he won't lead the league in touches because you never know how things are going to play out, but I almost don't want him to. That's, I think, a really strong statement coming from a guy who, again, has one of the best running backs in football. And I think that's something that the Ravens have probably figured out by now, or hopefully, which is that as good as Lamar Jackson is, if he's not able to beat teams through the air on a consistent basis, like he's going to keep getting that team is going to keep getting overshadowed by the Chiefs or the Bills in the AFC. The Bills are obviously a team we're going to talk about a little bit later, but you know, Josh Allen can run the ball. He can also pass the ball. So Lamar Jackson needs to get back to that MVP form of a couple years ago, and hopefully take an even larger step forward as a passer to, you know, have them really compete with the teams that I think they want to compete with.
Yeah, I agree. And your offense just becomes entirely too predictable if you don't make improvements in the passing game this year, because it's just going to be the same offense we've seen the last two seasons. So I really hope they do make an improvement. I think this Ravens team can be a lot of fun to watch if they can improve that passing game. I love Lamar Jackson, but I need to see more passing from him to have hopes that he's going to take this team to a far playoff run.
Yeah, and so I don't really necessarily have one here. Mine was very much in the same vein as yours, but to go along with that, like, they might need to pass it more because J.K. Dobbins is not going to be as effective this year, coming off of his first year after an ACL tear. Gus Edwards, their backup running back, is going to be on the PUP, so he's going to miss some weeks. And yeah, I mean, when you've got a hobbled RB1, you don't have your RB2. Yeah.
And look at what happened last year. Their entire running back room was destroyed by injuries. And then they had nowhere to go. You know, they had to scramble to get these players who were available to get on the team to learn the playbook in a flight to the away game. That is not sustainable for this team. They have to, like you said, I think they really do have to pass it more.
I agree. So moving on, Nope. Oh, I don't know why I did this. I completely skipped the Browns.
You're good.
You don't want to talk about the Browns, which is
not really. I can talk about a little bit after you speak, but not really.
Yeah. So the thing that I'm intrigued with by the Browns is obviously, as we discussed, like, the news is that Desean Watson will be missing 11 games the first 12 weeks of the season. Their bye is in there somewhere. And I'm really just curious, you know, what kind of step back is this team going to take with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback? He's obviously been a capable starter in the NFL before. I think good backup is probably a better way to put that. But I mean, he's going to have an extended stretch for the first time since his, the surprise Andrew Luck retirement as a continued starter in the NFL. And I don't know if this team is really good enough to be able to weather the storm in the way that I think that they wanted to, to be in a position where when Desean Watson gets back in week 13, that they're going to be able to make a play for the playoffs. I mean, anything's possible, because obviously, 7 teams are making the playoffs from both conferences. But, this team has been competing for the AFC North for the past couple of seasons. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that, because as bad as you might have thought Baker Mayfield was, even while he was hobbled last year, I think I'd still take that over Jacoby Brissett. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't envy the position that Jacoby Brissett has to be in right now.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. It was a lot easier for them when he was suspended 6 games. I mean, you don't really have to say that, but you know what I mean? Like, when it was 6 games, they still had time to make a playoff run. Now they really don't have much of a time to do that. I don't really feel like talking about the Browns yet. We'll get there. I'm just, after last week's press conference, I really don't care to talk about them right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel bad for Browns fans, to be quite honest with you.
I agree.
Yeah, because I don't know how you're supposed to root for that guy. Moving on. Last but not least, in this AFC North are the Pittsburgh Steelers. The retirement of Big Ben obviously led them to drafting Kenny Pickett with, I believe, the 20th overall pick. And I believe that is what you want to talk about when it comes to the Steelers.
Yeah, so I want to talk about Kenny Pickett. My line just says Kenny Pickett ? I don't know. I've seen mixed reports about him. They still are talking about Mitch Trubisky, making a play for competing for the starting position. Some reports come out and say they're everything that the Steelers wanted and that Kenny Pickett is everything the Steelers wanted. Some are saying he's struggling. But, they have 3 talented wide receivers in the starting roles, and Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and George Pickens. They have Pat Freiermuth, who's kind of due to take a step up this season. So I'm just curious if Kenny Pickett is that guy for them, or if they're going to backtrack a little bit and let Trubisky play, like kind of develop Pickett a little bit.
Yeah, and I think chances are we won't really necessarily get to see that this season. It's gonna. I think more than some of the other quarterbacks we've seen come out recently, it's going to be a much more drawn out process to figure out what they have in Kenny Pickett. But to go along with that on offense, I'm intrigued by Najee Harris. Yeah. He was not efficient last year, to put it lightly. He was just not an efficient running back. He looked good, I think, when you were watching the tape for the most part, but he had good counting stats, but he only averaged 3.9 a carry, and he had over 300 attempts as a rookie with 1,200 rushing yards. He had 7 touchdowns. He had 74 receptions. I find it hard to believe that he's not going to take a step back. Partly, on the rushing attempt side, I don't see a world where people are more worried about Kenny Pickett than they are about Big Ben passing the ball necessarily. Yeah. And speaking of Big Ben passing the ball, the dude was taking 1-step drops and just chucking it to Najee Harris before he had even moved. And that's what gave him 47 receptions for 467 yards. I think those receptions are going to drop dramatically. Kind of the conversation that maybe we'll have in a little bit regarding another star rookie running back from a couple years ago. But the offensive line is not good. You have a downgraded quarterback, most likely. And I don't know. I don't know what to think. I think he's a really talented player, but this does not exactly scream a positive situation for Najee Harris to, take steps forward as a player from an efficiency standpoint this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. And everyone was hoping he would, but I honestly, when you put it in perspective like that, I think that it does make a lot of sense to take a step back. When I remember how much Ben would just stand there and be like, yeah, whatever, he's there somewhere. Then just toss it. So his stats are going to decrease dramatically.
Yep.
Interesting. I didn't think about that before. Good thinking.
Thanks. I do my best.
You're welcome.
Anyway. All right. You want to move
into the
on?
AFC East?
AFC East.
Let's do it.
All right. I'll start with the Bills. Okay. And the thing that I'm most interested in is something that I feel like given how chaotic this offseason was in a lot of different ways, I feel like what goes really under the radar is the massive contract that the Bills gave Von Miller. Obviously, former Super Bowl MVP, got traded in the middle of the season to go to the Rams and help them win a Super Bowl, Von Miller. He got a massive contract from the Bills, and someone on The Athletic, I don't remember who, actually wrote a really great article about what led up to that. It was very interesting, actually. Kind of beside the point, but he actually one of my favorite things from that was Von Miller thought the Bills were going to draft him. He was almost positive. He thought that's where he was going. He's had like a Bills hat that he got, I think, from doing like an interview with them in his room, like in his childhood room for like all these years. So again, just kind of like a funny thing that, there's a really good chance he ends his career in Buffalo, but the Bills had the number 1 ranked defense last season when it came to points allowed. They were already a really, really good defense. But one place where I think that they struggled was in the sacks. They were they weren't even top 10. No, they were 11, but not top 10 sounds a little more detrimental when it comes to sacks in the NFL last season. So they were, pressuring the quarterback, but they weren't really necessarily fantastic at it. Or they weren't finishing plays. They were good at pressuring. They weren't great at finishing. So I'm just really, Von Miller screams the type of guy that can actually make a difference when it comes to pushing a team over the edge, because we've seen him do it basically twice now. And I am just really excited to see if he can push that Bills team to a whole new level, specifically in the playoffs. Like, he kind of screams like this is sort of an NBA thing, but like the kind of guy, like almost like a Kawhi Leonard, where, he's probably not gonna play back-to-backs. And when he gets to the playoffs, though, he really turns it on and just takes over. And I think that's what we might be able to see from Von Miller. Obviously, there's no back-to-backs in the NFL, or they're all back-to-backs, depending on the way you want to look at it. But I don't know. I think that we could really see him being a difference maker in the postseason, and it's going to be a while before we see that come to fruition or not. But that is something I'm very excited for. I've always liked Von Miller.
Yeah, and I think he is someone who could make a real difference in even just the locker room, right? His personality, who he is, seems like it's something the Bills could really use on defense. Yeah. So, and in that room. So I think it's going to be really beneficial for the Bills in a whole sense, not even just on the field, but off the field. He's a great community guy, which I know the Bills are super passionate about. So even just football aside, I think he makes a huge difference in the organization as a whole, which I'm really excited to see. For me, what I'm really looking out for and intrigued by is the running back room yet again. Reports are that Zach Moss looks, for the first time in like a year, looks healthy, looks fast, looks like he can actually have some burst on the field. But the running back room consists right now of Singletary, Zach Moss, and James Cook. And we know that Josh Allen does have a decent amount of designed runs, and he does carry the ball, so he acts as kind of an extra person there. But I'm just curious to see if one pulls ahead more than the other, or if it's going to be more committee-like. Because Singletary is showing his age a little bit and starting to slow down, I agree. And I agree, I think.
You just agreed with yourself.
I did agree with myself.
This is only like his, I don't know. That's a really weird statement. He's showing his age. Like, he's still on his rookie contract.
Is he? I thought it was a little bit. Whatever. Either way, he looks like he's aging. Is that a better way to say it?
I mean, I can disagree.
I think
with
he
you,
looks. I don't know.
Probably a more accurate way of putting it.
Slow. I don't think he looks incredible out there, and I think that having a incredible running back would benefit them. That's kind of what I mean, it's personal, but
Yeah, I don't think it has to do with his age. I mean, you can not like him all you want, but putting it on age.
So I'll phrase it as he looks like it looks like he's aging, even if he's not.
Stop using age. Stop using age.
He's slow.
That's fine.
There you go.
That is fine.
I honestly didn't know he was still on his rookie contract. I thought he was much older than that.
No, he's like, no.
How old is he?
I'll look it up now, but he's not that old. He's 24.
I thought he was 26. That's why. That was a guess I made. Either way, I'm just intrigued to see the Bills running back room.
Okay.
That's it.
Glad we settled that.
Okay.
I think Zach Moss is toast. I think if anyone looks slow, it's him. If anyone's showing his age,
he does, and that's why I'm intrigued. And again, you and I talk a million times about don't get wrapped up in camp reports, and I'm not believing all of it. But as of right now, they're saying he looks good, he looks fast, and it's just intriguing because he hasn't. Zach Moss.
Oh, I haven't seen any of those. For me, it's the only thing I've seen is positive about James Cook.
Yeah, I've seen some about Zach Moss. That's like Zach Moss looks fast, he looks healthy, which they haven't been able to say for a while.
In your mind, he looks young.
I don't think he looks young, but
no, he's not showing his age like other running backs in that room.
Oh my! Move on. Next team.
I almost had Cincinnati Dolphins. I'm not really sure where that came from.
That would like make no sense.
No, it wouldn't. But we have the Miami Dolphins. So real quick, because you're going to kind of touch on this, but I'm going to hop in there with mine. I just want to know if Patrick Mahomes made Tyreek Hill. If Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid made Tyreek Hill, because he was not really even a wide receiver on a consistent basis in college. Like he was basically a punt returner in his first season, and Andy Reid made him into one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes being one of the best quarterbacks throwing to him definitely helps. And I'm just really curious to see what happens as soon as he walks away from Patrick Mahomes. Like on the other side, like Devontae Adams, he just has so many traits that make him an incredible wide receiver that I just don't share the same concerns. But I think Tyreek Hill is such an outlier in so many ways that we've seen already that I wonder if that's actually detrimental to him when it comes to. I did not forget about Alex Smith. That is why I specified Andy Reid. And Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. He was a very good quarterback. He never got enough love. But still, I would take Alex Smith over Tua Tagovailoa. And if Andy Reid's the head coach, I kind of don't like if you put Andy Reid coaching Tua Tagovailoa and throwing to Tyreek Hill, that's also a different story. But this is, Mike McDaniel is very unproven. And Andy Reid he's one of the best offensive minds of the league's ever seen. So I'm curious if that's the reason that Tyreek Hill has become Tyreek Hill and what it's going to be like when he doesn't have that system around him.
Mm-hmm. And mine goes off of that too. I mean, with mine is Mike McDaniels, and what is Mike McDaniel made of, and can he help develop a player like Tua? What?
Nothing.
Okay. And can he help develop a player like Tua, who's kind of in this make or break situation right now? I know they don't have a first round pick anymore for next year, but
Tua's getting old.
No.
Really starting to show his age. Slowing down.
Never going to drop this.
Slowing down on the field.
Yeah, totally. No, and I just think Tua does need a lot of improvement, and he's in a situation where he really does have to prove himself. But I'm more so looking at Mike McDaniel, and he's touted as this offensive guru, this offensive nerd. He's incredible. Can he help develop a player like Tua and his surrounding cast? And I know you might say Tyreek Hill doesn't need a lot of development, but working on a completely new scheme that's incredibly different from where he was last, I think I'm really, really intrigued to see if Mike McDaniel can prove himself. I read this awesome article on The Ringer by Katie Baker on Tua and Mike McDaniel. Was a really good read if anyone is interested. And it's just basically about their connection and some of Mike McDaniel's plans. So I don't know. I'm very intrigued with his whole dynamic there.
And I think they share a room in the retirement home, don't they?
Oh my God.
Down the hall from Devin Singletary?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Also, we've got someone in the comments, Scott Brown, saying, Tua, a lefty. I naturally fade lefty QBs. Mike Vick. I won't do it. Mike Vick. It reminds me of this incredible. There was like an incredible press conference once Mike Vick became the starter for the Eagles way back when. And Lane Johnson had been drafted naturally to take over for Jason Peters at left tackle in the long term. And I think JP ended up getting injured or something. And people were like, Lane, are you going to finally switch to left tackle? And he looks at them, he's like, Mike Vick is left-handed. I'm already on his blind side. And that was just like the only answer he had. And it's just like, yeah. So Mike Vick. There's others. Also, yeah, Steve Young was going to be the other one. But I like Mike Vick. So it's beside the point. Moving on to a team that Mike Vick, no, he didn't play for him. He played for the Steelers late in his career. Well,
It was a good try to segue.
No, Brett Favre was kind of on my mind. Old quarterbacks that were randomly on a team that you forget about. Mike Vick was on the Steelers for like.
I love a co-host with ADHD.
Yeah, isn't it great? You're probably gonna never mind. There's another retirement home joke in there. I'm older than I think all of the guys we've talked about so far, except Mike McDaniel. But the Jets, the chat, not a long list compared. Ken Stabler. Not a long list compared to top left pitchers. I don't know. Like, you're right. It's it's funny. Like, I don't know. I have ADHD, so now I'm just like thinking about that. And it's like, it's beside the point.
I also feel like it's like a completely different position to be a left-handed pitcher and a right-handed pitcher. Like they breed them like that. Whereas quarterbacks, I think it makes a little bit. I know it makes a difference, but it makes
my sister's left-handed. So is my cousin Ben. So
you're not?
No, I'm right-handed. I bat lefty, and I golf lefty.
Interesting.
Those are the only things that I do lefty.
I golf righty, but it sounds weird to say it this way, but cheerlead lefty. Like I lean into my tumbling lefty.
You were a cheerleader?
Oh, my entire life.
Interesting.
How did you not know that?
I only know what you tell me. It's not like I've grown up with
That's public knowledge. It's like on my
How
Twitter.
is it public knowledge?
It's like on my Twitter. I've talked about it a million times.
I don't get notifications when you tweet.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice if you did.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't want to see more from you.
That's mean.
Quarterbacks are bred right-handed from coaching. This is a very. How do y'all not use the same hand for everything? Tiki man, I truly don't know. So, All right, quick story.
Okay.
So I played like T-ball or whatever. Very young. I got hit with a ball, so I quit. But later in life, so one of my best friends growing up, he's actually getting married next year. I'm gonna be the best man. Shout out me. But he baseball player.
You're not gonna shout out the friend?
Oh yeah, shout out David, obviously. But shout out me. Clearly I did something right in our years of friendship. But he was a lifelong baseball player. Now he's coaching pitching down in Arkansas. And anyway, so in like middle school, we were in gym class, and the banner that I am, like I got up to bat. We were playing baseball, and David is like on second base, or he's in the outfield or something. He might have been on the other team. I don't really remember. But I'm standing there super awkwardly. Like I look like a complete nerd, and I've always been like fairly coordinated. So like I didn't naturally just look terrible. Like I've played sports my whole life, but I'm also a band nerd, so no one kind of questioned it. But I look super awkward. And then from the outfield, Dave just goes, "Yo, Mike, don't you bat lefty?" I was like, because the only reason he knew that was because there are like those magnets on my wall, not on my wall, on my fridge from like my childhood. And I was standing there,
your T-ball pictures,
from like 4 years old, and he's like, again, he's been in my house 1,000 times. You saw him. I'm like, I don't know. It's a fair point.
I quit.
I turn around, and I immediately got a hit, a line drive, got a single. And I was like, wow, I do bat lefty. It is very unhinged. I don't know why I don't know why it feels comfortable, but
I have a friend who bats lefty because her mom like was trying to teach her righty and got frustrated, and then they switched her to lefty because like that's what the mom was, something like that. So it was just like she learned that way. She grew up in a household where they batted lefty, and that's why she batted lefty. Like in like weird things like that. I have no idea why I lead lefty when I like tumble.
I think I snowboard goofy.
Do you?
I think I've only been snowboarding once and it didn't go well.
I ski, but I don't snowboard.
But Ben Simmons,
I think
very good example of that. He might shoot righty or lefty, but I think he's a lefty, but he shoots righty. But Sixers Twitter spent years trying to analyze what he should be shooting at, because if anything is unhinged, it's us. Yeah. Moving on, the New York Jets. Yes. Speaking of unhinged, why don't you tell us about Ahmad Sauce Gardner?
I can. So mine is simple. Can Ahmad Gardner help improve the horrible Jets secondary, who had a total of only 5 interceptions last year? That was like my running thing that we'd get on here every week, and I'd be like, the Jets still don't have an interception, and it was the end of October. The Jets secondary has been trash. And last year, it showed such a weakness that everybody exploited. And the way Gardner has been playing in camp, in matchups, in preseason has been incredible. So I think he is the type of player who can completely transform the secondary and is a super versatile player. So I'm just intrigued to see how one person can affect that entire Jets secondary, because I believe he can.
I will never not be confused when you write his name down as Ahmad Gardner, and I will spend 10 seconds trying to figure out who the heck you're talking about until I realize that his first name is not Sauce.
Yeah. I saw this tweet once that's like, I am a grown man. I am not going to call that man Sauce. And then I was like, oh, that sounds about right. And
I disagree.
Gardner.
I disagree. I'm a grown man and I want to call him Sauce because that's awesome. I just spent $30 fab in the one college fantasy football thing that I'm in on General Booty. So
I love General Booty.
Yeah. Kyle gave me some crap for it.
I
asked him if he thought 30 would be enough, and he said I should bid 0. But I bid 30 because I wanted to be sure I got General Booty.
I made a pitch last year that we should just have an entire episode talking about the best names in football, and I still stand by that.
Well, we'll see what the season brings, I guess.
Okay. Either way, one more thing about Sauce. You have to go watch the Jets kid reporters. One of the kids sat down with him. They have a whole bunch of like first and second graders at the Atlantic Health Systems asking them questions. The one with Braxton Berrios was amazing. But the one with Sauce, the little kid, asks him about the nickname and things like that. And it was really funny. I think everyone should go watch it.
Sorry, I was trying to understand what he meant. I must have gotten confused with the 0 and added a 3. I forgot what that was in reference to.
Me too.
I am true. It's to my General Booty fab. Yeah, I apologize. I'm very ADHD today. I am all over the place. But I'm intrigued by the Michael Carter versus Breece Hall situation with the Jets running back. Obviously, they spent a second-round pick on Breece Hall, the running back who most people believed was the best running back in this past draft. Michael Carter was a fourth-round pick from 2 drafts ago. Had a pretty solid rookie season. He actually kind of looked better with Zach White. No, Mike White. I combined Zach Wilson and Mike White. Mike White out there because he was passing him the ball a lot. Zach Wilson did not. But right now, every indication that we're getting out of camp, every report is that Michael Carter is currently the RB1, the starter for the Jets, which is just really interesting. I really like Michael Carter. I think he's very talented, but I really expected this to be the Breece Hall show with a healthy amount of Michael Carter mixed in, like probably more 60-40 Breece Hall, Michael Carter. And I still think it'll get there. But it's clear that Breece Hall is definitely going to have to earn that role, and Michael Carter's not just going to fold over and give it to him. So from a fantasy perspective, I think that's very interesting, and it's going to be very intriguing to see, when that actually takes place, if it does take place, or if Michael Carter maybe is better than we give him credit for. Not that it probably matters because the Jets are probably going to be bad again. It's fine.
They do have the most bettors on their over and wins this year, which is interesting. Just fun fact.
Great.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
They can still be bad.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
They can. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I'm getting distracted. Your distraction is distracting me.
New England Patriots.
You go first.
Okay. New England Patriots.
Yes.
Mine, it's I hate it, but I've talked about it a lot in the past week, and it's Jonnu Smith. I hate all this report out of camp that Jonnu Smith is about to have a breakout season. Like, if we're talking about someone that's, about to be in a retirement home and showing his age, like, what is Jonnu Smith right now? Like 90 years old? He's in his 40th NFL season. We've been predicting a breakout since like day one, and guess what? He has not had it. Yes, it's a new offensive system. That's great. He's probably going to be more involved at least from a fantasy perspective than last year because he was blocking all over the place last year.
New offensive system with Joe Judge.
Yeah, but oh god, you mean Joe Judge and Matt Patricia? Yeah, mm-hmm. Who are an offensive coordinator by pairing or something, but not like a good pairing.
Have they officially even named one of them?
No, Bill Belichick says they don't believe in titles or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
That means they both stink.
Yeah, it means I hate Joe Judge. Shout out Tiki. Who is? I feel like Tiki
it's
Man.
Kyle.
Oh, okay.
It's Kyle.
Oh, That makes so much more sense. I had no clue it was Kyle.
It's totally Kyle.
That makes a lot more sense, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying?
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith. He's not going to have a breakout season. Just stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it. With the exception of Hunter Henry getting injured, like Jonnu Smith is not going to be this breakout tight end that all of a sudden fulfills the potential that we saw in him like 90 years ago when he got drafted. I don't care. I hate it. I can't stand it. And I don't think there's any discourse that I hate more every offseason than the freaking Jonnu Smith breakout truthers. It pisses me off. I don't like it. That's what I'm intrigued by with the freaking New England Patriots this season.
It's so funny because I actually had this conversation earlier with someone that was like, I'm curious about Jonnu Smith. And I was
Punch them in the face.
I literally rolled my eyes. They're like, I know. Like, do not.
I don't
want to hear
care if Jonnu is younger than I think, Kyle. I think he's like 90. Of course he's younger than I think. But I just don't care. He has so many years in the NFL to show us that he is not capable of doing what we hoped he would be able to do. And I just don't care if he has a breakout campaign that includes like 500 yards. I just don't care. It's not even anything against Jonnu Smith. Like,
no,
it's just truly, I hate everyone else.
It's the people.
Yes.
That keep touting this up to be that.
Yes. Just leave the man be.
Yeah. If nobody hyped him up and he was just mediocre, then great. You know what I mean? Like, stop hyping it up and then everyone will lower their expectations. Either way.
He also had Ryan Tannehill. I don't care if he had Marcus Mariota. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Just talk about what you want to talk about, Ashley.
Okay.
I'm done arguing with Kyle in the freaking comments. I shouldn't have told him we were on Twitch.
You're lucky I told you it was Kyle because otherwise I don't know if you would. Maybe I'm unlucky that I told you it was Kyle because I don't think you'd be arguing like that.
I had an idea it was Kyle, but I wasn't like positive until you said it.
Yeah.
So
either way, I think about the Patriots. I'm going to phrase it like this: how bad will their defense hurt them this year? Because I think I am very confident that their defense is going to hurt them. It's just a matter of how much are they going to hurt them. This offseason, they lost Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, and J.C. Jackson. Also, I didn't mention it in the news, J.C. Jackson had a foot surgery. He's with the Chargers now. He'll be out like 2 to 4 weeks. But yeah, Hightower, Van Noy, and Jackson. It is a serious, serious problem for them. They played so heavy on zone coverage last year. They played 64% of their snaps were in zone coverage and are going to have to do that again because of the increase in talent in this division with people like Tyreek Hill. The Jets added some receivers. You have Stephon Diggs playing man against these people with subpar secondary is not going to work out well for them. So they're going to have to play zone again. And their zone defense kind of fell apart against the Bills last year and at the end of the season. So there's going to be so much passing in this division, and they have a serious lack of depth at cornerback. I think their only one right now is like Jalen Mills, who hasn't been looking the best. So I'm just...
the Green Goblin himself, baby.
Yep, is Jalen Mills.
Great Jalen Mills. Let's go. Yep. Love Jalen Mills.
They're only like real cornerback right now. So
I feel so bad for Jalen Mills. Like he was like a 7th round pick. Mm-hmm. And he was never meant to do what he's been asked to do in the NFL. He did it he's done it. He did it every season with the Eagles. Like everything happened and somehow he always ended up being the cornerback 1 for the Eagles. It doesn't matter who we brought in. Jalen Mills somehow ended up being our top outside corner. We tried moving him into the nickel. We tried moving him to safety. None of it mattered. He ended up as the CB1 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out Jalen Mills. I love him. He didn't stop dyeing his hair green when he left the Eagles. Go Birds.
He did not. And it's just like, okay, so Jalen Mills, not supposed to be in this position at all, is now going to be CB1 for the Pats and is going to be consistently paired up against Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill.
It doesn't go well.
It's not going to go well. So a mediocre Patriots offense is not going to be able to save the horrible defense that I think is going to happen. I'm just so interested to see how bad the Patriots defense hurts them this year.
There we go.
Yeah.
And that finishes us out with the NFC East. AFC East. AFC. And now we're moving into the NFC East.
Correct.
And I'm honestly kind of mad that you kind of took mine for the Commanders.
Oh, you can go first one. I'll just.
All right.
We'll just join him.
Is Carson Wentz a piece of crap? I love
Carson
that
Wentz
man.
show any signs of life?
I don't even care if he showed signs of life. I want to know if his teammates all really hate him.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, I used to love that man, but apparently everyone doesn't like him. So that's really all I got. I guess on like a more serious note, is Antonio Gibson dead?
Yeah.
Is Ron Rivera going to regain control? Is Dan Snyder going to get kicked out of owning an NFL team like he should be? Who knows? I guess we'll find out soon on this episode of
Will the Washington Commanders still be a team at the end of the season?
Probably not. They're probably going to change their name again. But yeah, I don't know. I hope Carson Wentz can figure out his life, I guess. There was a reporter that just straight up asked him. Like, it was actually kind of like, it was ballsy. Like a regular news reporter in the Washington area was just like, yeah, so Philly traded you. They got rid of you. Indy didn't want you. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And Carson was like,
taken aback.
Oh, he's like, well, yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
You don't even get asked those type of questions.
It's a good question, but like you don't ever ask that to his face.
Yeah, so very odd. He handled it well, but it was still just like kind of feel bad if that's the way you're going to phrase that. But anyway, you can go now.
Yeah, mine was just, is there any sign of life with Carson Wentz? Is there any bit of 2017 left in Carson Wentz? Which
there's some 2017 left in me. It's what gets me up every morning.
I know, but is there any left in Carson Wentz?
No.
I don't think so.
No, probably not.
And he ended things so horribly with the Colts, so horribly.
Yep.
So I didn't see it. I don't think anyone saw it playing out like that, and it played out like that, and it was horrible. So, is Carson Wentz good? No, but can he show any signs of life? I don't think so. But that is my question.
Downey's mad at me. She's very.
Why?
Can you hear her barking?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's mad at me.
Why is she mad?
Because I'm doing a podcast and not giving her love.
Did you give her mail?
No, she hasn't gotten any mail. Well, I mean, the mail woman gives her treats every day. Like,
does she really?
Yeah, they love each other.
I love it. Either way, I can talk about the Cowboys really quick.
Yeah, I just need to kick her out. Yeah, you can still talk about the Cowboys.
Okay, so I was trying to go two directions with the Cowboys, and one direction was just so that I can talk about what's Trayvon Diggs, which he's horrible, but I decided to go another route. Is Zeke going to take a step back in this offense? I'm extremely curious on the splits between him and Pollard, because Pollard has been showing incredible talent, especially throughout last year, and Zeke is on this insane contract and looks like he's, I don't know, a little bit less talented than he used to be, and I don't know if he has been dealing with injuries. So I'm just really curious to see what the splits are between him and Pollard, because Pollard took a lot of third down and end zone work last year.
Yeah, it's going to be Zeke getting the ball a lot, because
you think so?
Yeah, he makes a lot of money, and Jerry Jones, I think I think he would like to adopt him as his son.
Yeah.
He has a very unhealthy love for Zeke, but they also just pay him way too much money.
They do.
So, yeah, it won't be what it should be. Which is to be expected. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because I just kind of want to see Dallas crash and burn. But I think more realistically, I'm focused on Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I want to see Dak without Amari Cooper, because I think Amari was the perfect wide receiver for Dak in the way that he was able to get open. And Dak, I don't particularly think is much of an anticipation thrower. I don't think he throws guys open all that much. He did it a decent amount when, in his rookie year with Des Bryant, but I think Amari Cooper is perfect for him. And I think if CeeDee Lamb doesn't take the step forward that a lot of people kind of are dreaming that he will, which I don't think he's shown the ability to do yet. I really like CeeDee Lamb. I lean toward he will, but he hasn't shown it. It's still a guess. It's still hope. And if he doesn't take that step forward, I think Dallas could be in a lot of trouble. Michael Gallup's not going to be ready for the start of the season. Nope. Jalen Tolbert is only a third-round pick. So, yeah, they led the league in points, I believe. Yeah, points last year. Due in part to the defense actually scoring a decent amount on their own, which will take a step back just naturally. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how much. Congrats. She found her other AirPod. But I'm intrigued to see by how much and what Dak looks like another year removed from his injury as well. So, yeah, just as a whole.
Yeah, I talked about this last year, and I know you hate the saying, but I really don't have any other way to say it. But, like, I don't know. Dak hasn't been – you hate the word clutch, and I do too, but I don't know how else to phrase it. Like, I feel like he hasn't been. When they need him to step up most, he doesn't. So if he has less talent, less of a system around him, it's going to hinder that even more. It's intriguing, but they might crash and burn, and that's so sad.
We'll see. It's not sad. I can't wait.
That's why I said so sad very sarcastically.
So somehow the last team we're going to talk about is not the one with one of the best off seasons in recent history.
No, we can. So I put them all in alphabetical order. In every alphabetical order in every division. You can go back and see they're all in alphabetical order.
Alphabetical.
So we can talk about the Eagles last if you'd like.
Let's talk about the Eagles last.
Okay.
I think there's more, excitement there. There's more happiness for me anyway.
Very
so
true.
I'm going to start by talking about the Giants.
Okay.
And it's, will everyone finally accept that Saquon Barkley's not going to be the guy?
I knew you were going to do this.
The guy he was at his rookie year, because he's never going to be, because Eli Manning is not there to give him over 100 targets. Like, it's that simple to me. Like, it's the Najee Harris argument from earlier. Like, Saquon is insanely talented, but I don't know if talent really matters that much at the running back position in the NFL. Like, it does. It matters.
Hot take.
No, I don't think it is, because the NFL has told us that's exactly what it is. That's what they've told us. Like, they're telling us by the way that they devalue the running back position that it does not matter, that their talent, that they don't necessarily care who they have at running back. Like, look at 2017. LeGarrette Blount went unsigned into camp, and he ended up being like the Eagles. I don't think he was necessarily the Eagles' leading rusher, but he was one of them. And they won a Super Bowl. They traded for Jay Ajayi, who had a breakout campaign the year before, for a 4th-round pick in the middle of the season. Like,
I think the NFL devaluing running backs as a whole is completely different than running backs not having to have talent.
But if their talent mattered, then why would they devalue it? If it was that important to have a really, really talented running back, wouldn't they value it like that?
I don't know. I think there's two separate things.
Look at what are the most important positions in football, and what are they getting paid?
Quarterback.
What are they getting paid? Probably the most.
A lot. Yeah.
Tackles.
Yeah.
Defensive ends. Cornerbacks. Wide receivers. It's a passing league. That's where the money is. And they've told us. I agree,
and that's the way the NFL has transitioned to recently, but I still think talent, you need to have talent.
Yeah, talent's great. Every NFL player has talent. But is it worth paying extra and paying more for an extreme hyper talent at a position that doesn't matter? Because I think the Titans or the Cowboys or the Panthers would probably say maybe not after they've paid their running back a crap ton of money, and it's resulted in a playoff win, I think, 2 playoff wins since those contracts have been signed. Like, Saquon Barkley is on the verge of either being a free agent or getting a very big contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if it matters. I wouldn't pay him, but there's a really good chance the Giants will, and I think that's going to just be detrimental to them in the long term. I don't think it matters how talented he is, because if Eli Manning is there to check down the ball 1,000 times, it doesn't matter if it's Saquon Barkley or Nyheim Hines. It's not going to change the outlook of the offense that much. Yeah, Saquon Barkley will do more with those touches, but it's still a check down to a running back. And Eli Manning's not there to check it down to him. The offensive line is better, but it's coming from a very, very low place. So in what way is Saquon Barkley going to help this team and really make a difference in the way that if you had that hyper-talented player at any other position, they're impacting it more than Saquon is going to be doing from the running back position?
Yeah, I guess I get where you're coming from. I don't know. I just still, I know the NFL devalues them, but I think there's Like, you have to have a running back with a decent amount of talent.
Every NFL player has a decent amount of talent.
Yes, but like there's a threshold there.
What star running back has been in the Super Bowl lately?
I don't know.
I just like that. I hear what you're saying, and 20 years ago that was true, I guess. But like the Chiefs won a Super Bowl with Darrell Williams. Like I legitimately don't even know his name. Leonard Fournette. Like I guess he's the closest thing to an example, which I think we would both agree he is not in the same tier as Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley when it comes to just talent. I mean, they're paying him too much money, but that's because you have Tom Brady and you can kind of afford to.
Did you say win a Super Bowl or in a Super Bowl?
Oh, either.
I was thinking Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, yeah. I mean, I think he's probably the biggest argument. But then look at the rest of the offense. You have Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and T. Higgins all on rookie contracts. And you can argue that they're all top 5 or top 10 at their position in the NFL.
Yeah.
And on the last play of the game, Joe Mixon wasn't in the game. Now, that's because Zach Taylor's a moron. Yeah. But they didn't get to the Super Bowl because of Joe Mixon. Yeah. And I like Joe Mixon, but they didn't.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll have to think about this. Either way,
I don't mean to totally crap on your team, but
no, I crap on my own team. You know, like I get where you're coming from, and I agree. Like I've had this internal debate and external debate with other Giants fans about Saquon's contract for 2 years now. Like he has not shown that he's worth what we would have to pay him. Do I have my hopes that he still has that in him? Yes, I think he's showing some flashes of that, but like seeing flashes and expecting him to live up to the contract that we would have to pay him is not the same thing. So I hope he can step up and show that he still is this elite running back, but I'm not going to pay him in hopes that's who he can become.
Yeah.
You know, you don't pay somebody for their old version of themselves. You pay for who they're going to be in the future, and you can't make that you can't accurately guess that. Yep. So that's why I love Saquon is one of my all-time favorite Giants. I love Saquon. And that's where the logic comes in and is like, well, you shouldn't pay him. It's going to hurt the franchise. But I love him as a person and as a player. But as an organization, do I think we should pay him? No. But I hope he shows this year that he is worth a good amount of money. I'm not saying we end up paying him, but just for him as a whole, I think he is primed to have this really good season. And I hope he does. And I'm just intrigued for him. That's like my word of the day is intrigued. But I liked this debate, though, I will say.
Well, you can continue on to what you're interested outside of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, outside of Saquon Barkley, it's Daniel Jones. I mean, they have a coaching system around him that's extremely offensive-based. They made the offensive line so much better. They've invested around him. They have trained him better, it seems. And the thing is, he's still coming off injury. It's still not an incredible team. I don't think this team is going to win a Super Bowl, but I'm hopeful with the people that they've put around him. And this team is coming back from a lot of injuries at all positions. So I think this is like a fresh start for the entire team, but for Daniel Jones especially, who is 100% make or break right now. We talk about Tua having to prove himself, but Daniel Jones this is his year where it's either you're going to be a second string quarterback for the rest of your life, or you have something there that either we are going to use or some other team is going to use as a placeholder. I don't know, but Daniel Jones is in a complete make or break year right now. They didn't take his 5th-year option. This is his last chance. I don't know if he has it. That's the question. I try not to get myself high on Daniel Jones, but he is great in some aspects. Not last season, the season before, he was the best deep ball passer in the league. He beat Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. He has talent. It's just a matter of, does that come and go? Is it affected by his coaching? Is it affected by the people around him? I'm sure it is. But can he be a consistent quarterback? And
I do
now the answer
famously
is no.
hate Joe Judge. So
yes, exactly.
That did not help him.
No. And not at all. Not at all. And I could go on for about it, but I have in this podcast a million times that he has not had the same coach year in and year out. It's a bad system for him, and I hope the best for him, but I am not sold yet. So interested
All right.
in Daniel Jones. I'm actually wearing a shirt that he signed, which I was at Patriots and Giants joint practice last year, and this is like my favorite Giants shirt I own. It's like a vintage Giant shirt from '95. But I didn't have anything else for him to sign, so he signed this, and now I can't wear this shirt as often as I used to because like it's a signed shirt.
That was a mistake.
I know.
You messed
But I
up.
like met him and I got to like talk to him and I asked him questions and stuff. It was like the first like reporting I did. Then he signed it. No. I can't wear this shirt as much. That's what I'm sad about.
You messed up.
Yeah, it's fine.
So why don't you tell me your thoughts on the Eagles, since I was
My-
able to go on a rant about your Giants.
Yes, my thoughts on the Eagles, obviously Jalen Hurts, but I'm going to talk about the wide receivers. A stat that I found today that says the Eagles haven't had a receiver with over 1,000 yards in the last 7 seasons.
Can I guess the last one? Do you know who it was?
No.
Oh, I think
I
it's
didn't
Jeremy
write that
Maclin, but it's
Yeah,
beside the
no.
point.
7 seasons. I'm just interested to see how they use Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. I think it's going to be an incredibly amazing duo between the two of them. If Jalen Hurts can sustain them both, I'm just really intrigued by it. And if they can break that embarrassing streak of 7 years without it.
It was
So
Jeremy Maclin.
trading, nice. So trading for AJ Brown, I think, was a good move on their part, and I'm just really excited to see how they fit him in, but also maintain Devontae Smith, which is what they hope to do.
I didn't realize that Zach Ertz was our leading receiver for 4 years in a row, and only one of those years did he go over 1,000 yards. Yeah, some of these numbers are just very bad until you get to the Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin era.
Mhm.
But wow, that 2020 Travis Fulgham leading the team with 539 yards. That hurts.
Bad.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
bad.
It hurts. Screw AJ Brown and screw the Eagles. How about this? Screw you, Kyle. AJ Brown and the Eagles hate you too, and so do I.
I'm also interested in Sterling Shepard. I didn't see that comment.
But yeah, for me, that is definitely intriguing to me. But I think it's kind of cut and dry with the way they're going to use it. Like the way that I envision the offense being, like it makes a lot. Like I think they're going to have pretty well defined roles, and I think Nick Sirianni is going to use them well. The big question for me is obviously the question I think on every Eagles fan and every Eagles reporter's mind, and that's Jalen Hurts. And it's, will he do enough this season to show that he should be the quarterback in 2023 and beyond?
Yep.
He wasn't drafted to be a franchise quarterback. Anyone who says that he was is an idiot, and they're lying, and they don't know anything, and they don't pay attention. And that still pisses me off because I still hear people say it. No, he was not drafted to be their franchise quarterback. He was drafted because Howie Roseman got full of himself and figured that I should get a cheap backup quarterback right now, right after signing Carson Wentz to a franchise-level deal. That backfired, Howie. Great. But Howie's done a great job. Whether or not he should have been, completely beside the point. He wasn't. The Eagles have never gone into Jalen Hurts thinking this is our franchise quarterback. And because of that, they're in the unique position that doesn't happen very often in the NFL, where a quarterback is going to have to convince the team that he's their franchise quarterback. And to do that, Jalen Hurts is going to need to show some signs of being a win because of quarterback, not a win with. He has, if you take quarterback out of the equation, I'm not sure if there is a better and deeper roster in the NFL than the Eagles. And if there is, like, there's very few of them. Like the Bills are probably up there. There are other ones, but the Bills. The Bills.
The
Eagles. What?
Bucks?
Yeah. They're already facing some injuries, but like, the Eagles' entire second team offensive line is like. Now he's on. Now it's Jimmy Neutron, Kyle. Kyle. All right, Kyle. We'll argue about this off air. But what I said is accurate. If you take quarterback out of the equation, it's one of the top 5 deepest and best rosters in the NFL.
We're talking defense too, right? Not just offense.
Yep.
And that's what I think tips the scale for me a little bit, is to partially agree with you, is because of the defense.
And safety's probably their weakest position. Like by far, it's their weakest position, but that's the one that would probably be holding them back in terms of deep and good rosters. But beside the point, Jalen Hurts needs to show that he's going to be able to win games. There's no more excuses. You know, last year he was throwing to a rookie Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, and Quez Watkins. Like, I like Quez Watkins. He should not be like your second leading receiver. He's much better suited for that third receiver, like and he's going to be in and out with Zach Pascal, who's looked incredible in camp. And Jalen Reagor is going to be your 5th wide receiver. You added one of the best wide receivers in the league in A.J. Brown. Devonta Smith is going to take a second-year leave. Dallas Goedert is going into his first full year as a full-time starter as the tight end one. You have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, if not the best. Brad at the Undroppables would say it is the best. There's no excuses for Jalen Hurts. So what it all comes down to me, and it's going to be something that is going to be painful to read about and listen to week after week, is did Jalen Hurts do enough this week in this game on this play to show that he should be the Eagles' future and their franchise quarterback after this season? And Kyle, I do agree with you. Jay Jaw as a wide receiver 2 for blocking is very true. However, he is on the Seahawks now. He did get traded. We do miss Jay Jaw. May he rest in peace. The Eagles just made a trade where the dude we got back from Jay Jaw, like Ugo Umbadi or something. I don't remember. A safety. He was on the team for like a day. We just traded him again, and we just got like a 2024. I don't even know what it was. Very weird.
It's a 3rd, 4th, something like that.
Oh, we did not get a 3rd or a 4th round pick for a guy that we just traded. No, if it's a 2024, if it's a 4th,
maybe that's the 4 I'm thinking.
If it's a 4th, that'd be awesome. Ugo Amadi, I was close. If it's a 4th, that's highway robbery. Like that's collusion.
That's chess.
No, that's not chess. That is how we put a game shark in the NFL somehow and got someone to give him a 4th round pick for a guy that just got traded for Jay Jaw, literally less than a week ago. Late round picks. That makes a ton more sense. Okay. Regardless,
I think I was confused by the 4 in 2024.
Yeah. So yes, it's all about Jalen Hurts because he doesn't have any excuses. A little bit of Nick Sirianni in there, but mostly Jalen Hurts.
I like the way you said it really is a very unique position that the team's in because they're asking him to prove himself, but don't have to say they made a mistake either. You know what I mean? Usually when you're asking a quarterback to prove himself, it's because, hey, we might have messed up here. We really need you to step up. But here it's like, their future is yours if you want it, if you can take it. You know, it really is a very unique position he's in. And
the Eagles won't settle. They are a franchise that knows what they want at quarterback. They were interested in Desean Watson. They were interested in Russell Wilson. They were interested in Aaron Rodgers. Last year, they were interested in all the big name whomevers. That's the way they are. That's what they are as a franchise. They will not settle if they are not completely convinced that Jalen Hurts can be the quarterback moving into the future. And I'm rooting for him. I love him as a person.
Me too.
So
we talk about this like once a week in these seasons.
Yes. So, that's all I'm going to talk about with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Kyle, send me a list of rosters that you think are better taking out the quarterback than the Eagles. Better and deeper. That's important. They know what they want. That's why they have Gardner Minshew. No, Kyle. That's why they have Reed Sinnett, QB3, preseason hero, and also Devin Allen. Shout out Devin Allen, Olympic hurdler. Scored a touchdown in the Eagles preseason game, a 55-yard bomb from Reed Sinnett. And you know what he did? He did a hurdling celebration.
I love that.
Apparently, at the joint practices with the Browns, he burned one of the Browns' defensive backs for a touchdown, like a third team. Then he hurdled over the dude. I only read it. I need to find out if there's video of it.
Yeah.
But absolutely incredible. I just shout out Devin Allen. I would keep him on the practice squad just for that.
Just for fun.
Yeah. So yeah. There we go.
That is the finale of our preseason storyline segment. Thanks for sticking around for it. It was fun. We started this as it was just training camps. Preseason games hadn't started or anything, and now we're a little bit further in. So I'm intrigued down the line to go back and look at these. And
how many times do you think we use the word intrigued?
I don't know. I really don't know why I keep saying it. I need to go look up like the synonym dictionary because I can't figure out anything else to say.
Thesaurus. Thesaurus is the word you're looking for.
Okay. See, synonym. That's
one of those good old synonym dictionaries.
Duncan, do you have anything to share with us?
Yes, I do. Before we say goodbye, we have a new sponsor over at the Undroppables. And they support this show, and support is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, and so join over 6 million men worldwide, including this one, who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code UND, that is UND as in the beginning of the word Undroppables, at manscaped.com. And if my math is correct, that is about 12 million balls that trust Manscaped. I personally just got my Manscaped bundle this past week.
Did you get it?
I did, and it's been incredible. It comes with ball deodorant, which is very exciting.
What is it called? The lawn mower, something like that?
So the lawnmower 4.0 is the highlight of the package. Then there's also there's like a hedge trimmer or something. I forget exactly what it's called, but that's how you go.
I love the names.
I did clean my nose hair, or trimmed my nose hair for the first time in my life because I've never had a tool to do it. Yeah. So I also got a really nice pair of free underwear.
Are they just like plain, or do
they're just black, but they have Manscaped, and they are non-chafing boxer briefs. So yes,
honestly, incredible. I think the best part of all this is that you get free shipping, because who wants to pay for shipping? I hate pay. I could have like a cart of like $1,000 worth of stuff, and it's like $10 shipping, and I'm like, oh.
Well, feel free to order from Manscaped. You should, for your boyfriend, for Christmas or a holiday or Easter or another one. But anyway, Halloween. That is Manscaped. Use code UND at manscaped.com for 20% off and free worldwide shipping. So with that, I think it's time we say goodbye.
I think it is. Duncan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at mpduncan75. You can find me with the Undrafted podcast hosted by @DinoGameTheory, where I produce that weekly and sometimes talk about stuff. I did yell about Jonnu Smith just last week over there, if you'd like to hear it again. Kyle's killing me in the comments right now. And you can find me here at the Undroppables Playbook weekly, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live or wherever you listen to podcasts shortly thereafter. And you can find me in the shower using my new lawnmower 4.0, which is waterproof, and I will be cleaning my nether regions.
Kyle left a comment for those who are listening that says, I always look forward to my Halloween gifts, and I'm now just have a picture in my head of Kyle like trick-or-treating and getting a lawnmower.
I'm gonna send Kyle some Manscaped for Halloween.
Free shipping.
I think he needs it.
He does. The hedge trimmers. You can find me on Twitter at Ashley_Marie with 2 A's in Ashley. You can find me here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can find all of my content with the Undroppables, and you can find both of us and the rest of the Undroppables team a lot of great exclusive content on the Undroppables Discord channels, which you can get access to by going to patreon.com/theundroppables. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I hope all of you order your lawnmower and hedge trimmer. And I hope to see you next week.
Let's make it 13 million balls.
Let's do it.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.